Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I am the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is the first in the series of BNI Connect webinars to help you to utilize the system a little bit better. And this one is called Building VCP with BNI Connect. And what this is all about is how to really fill out your profile, make sure that you're visible out there in the world, and to put your best foot forward so that you're actually building some visibility and credibility through your profile in BNI Connect. What we're going to be going over today is we're going to show you all the different places that the information in your profile shows up, and also how to go in and fill out all that information with some kind of tips and tricks as to how to do so. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started this morning, and that is that this is a live webinar. So that means if you have any questions at all as we're going through the content today, please do feel free to ask those questions. I'll see those questions pop up on the screen right away, and I'll be able to answer them as we're going along. The place to enter questions is in the questions panel here in the webinar software. Just type it in, and again, I will see that show up. We're scheduled for about 30 minutes of content. That being said, I am always happy to stay on these webinars as long as you have questions. So please do feel free to ask away. We are recording this webinar, and it will be made available for review afterwards. You'll be able to find the webinar in one of two different places. The first way is if you're logged into BNI Connect, click on this question mark in the upper right-hand corner. This will take you over to the support site. On the support site, we have a ton of information, including the upcoming list of webinars and a ton of documentation as well. You'll also find in the documentation a list of recorded webinars, and we'll have them there month by month. You can click on a month, and it will show you all of the webinars for that month. For example, here's the one from September on this particular subject. You can share them, you can view them there, or you can also view them directly on our YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, you'll be able to find them here. This is our YouTube channel. This has some special presentations by Dr. Meisner, as well as a bunch of educational moments, short 3 to 5 minute videos on specific topics, and all of the recorded webinars month by month. So let's talk about VCP. For anybody that doesn't know what VCP stands for, VCP stands for Visibility plus Credibility equals Profitability. Visibility plus credibility equals profitability. Now, with BNI Connect, we are now on a global, a worldwide platform, and our profiles are available to not only the other 160,000 members here in BNI that are in BNI Connect, but also all of the people around the world that might be viewing the BNI Connect national websites, the regional websites, and the chapter websites. So let's take a look at what this looks like. On the outside, so every region in BNI Connect has a regional website. So let me just go up to my AntarcticReferrals.com. This is my test region up in Antarctica. Let's say that I'm somebody browsing the internet and I heard about BNI and I go to this regional website and maybe I'm looking through and I'm interested in a chapter. This Burr chapter looks good. And I'm looking at the members and I say, hey, you know what, I've been looking for a storage facility, and I click on this person's name and I see their profile. Now, this is not really building much credibility as far as a profile goes. I mean, the name is there. Harvey Keitel is listed. I can see the company name and what chapter they are, and luckily I even do have a phone number to get in touch with them. But there's really, there's not much else there. It's like a single line in a yellow pages or something like that. Now instead, let's say that somebody was in my region. Let's say they even happen to be on my chapter. Oops, didn't type it all the way. My chapter's website, and they're looking at our members here on the chapter website. and maybe they even pull up my profile. Now this is a little bit more of a complete profile. So it has a picture so people connect with you right away. It has my logo, so I'm helping to build credibility just by having my logo out there. It lets them know what my business is all about. It also lets them know about my phone numbers. They even have my mobile phone number, my fax phone number, my website, my full address. It has all of my social media links. Tells them about my business, what an ideal referral is for me. And one second, Mary has a question. She said she can't see the screen display. The audio is coming through. Mary, what I would say is you may want to disconnect from the webinar and then just connect right back in again using the link, and that might relaunch it and enable you to see the video. I see the preview display of the video seems to be going through. Is anybody else having issues? So no, I am getting other notes back that it's good. So Mary, you might want to just disconnect and then come back into the webinar. All right. So anyway, from a VCP standpoint, this is really more of a credibility building than having something that's just completely empty. Now, we're also available. There's also national websites. So on the public internet, your profile is available in 3 different distinct places: the regional website, the chapter website, and the national website. For example, here in the United States, we have BNIAmerica.com, and this has all of the members publicly available. So let's say I'm going and I do find a member here, and I do a search for myself, or I do a search for one of my keywords or something like that. I can see my exact match, and here is my profile again. So this, as I said, is available in the public web space. It is being indexed by Google, so it's all out there for use. On the inside of BNI Connect, so after you log into BNI Connect, this is the members-only portal. And we also have the ability to be found by other members here in BNI Connect. For example, if I went to the magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner, this is the BNI Global Directory search. And let's say that I was looking for Harvey Keitel. And if I pull up Harvey's profile, this is what his profile looks like on the inside to other members. Now there's some expanded information available to other members in BNI Connect. But again, here Harvey's not sharing a whole lot of information. Now we do have the ability to look at people's gains profile in 60-second presentations, but Harvey hasn't filled that information out yet. We can see other people's connections. So I can see that he's connected to Alfred E. Newman. I can even go and view his profile from here. There's the ability to read other people's testimonials. So as other members give you testimonials, people can help. This can help to build credibility when other people read those. There's also a photo sharing library. We can see what group discussions we're participating in, as well as the training history. Again, all of these help to jumpstart the relationships. And just to show you, let's look up my profile here. And again, this is a bit of a more complete profile. So it has my business descriptions. People can see the keywords. They can see all the phone numbers. If you are sharing your email address, they have a way to email you directly right from your profile here in the members only portion. And if I look at the bio tab, people can read my 60-second presentations even if they never come to one of my meetings. They can read my gains profile. They can read my tops profile. They can see all of my connections. They can read my testimonials. I have a photo library. They can see the groups that I'm participating in or the groups that I run. And finally, my training history. So the question is, how do we get all of this information into BNI Connect so that you are able to start building credibility right away? For that, I'm going to go back to the home screen here. And there's a couple of different ways that you can enter your profile in order to start making updates to it. The first of which is you can click on the Options button up at the top and go to My Account. You can also, up here in this gray bar, click on Update Profile My BNI page. That will take you into your profile as well. Now, once you're into the back end of your profile, you'll notice that the information is broken into a number of different tabs along the top here. We have the Main Profile tab, we have the User Profile tab, we have the Contact Details, the Account Settings, the Bio. If you happen to be a Director Consultant, you'll have a Director Consultant tab, and your Training History. So let's take a look at each one of these tabs and what information is available on them. So this first tab here is the Main Profile, and this is basically your name and your company name. In some places, in order to change your name, you will need to send a request. The reason for this is that the name has to match what is on the application. So in some places, you will have to make sure that that matches and possibly submit a new application in order to make sure that it's on file correctly, and the same with the company name. For those of you here in the United States, VAT reference number. VAT stands for Value Added Tax. That's basically like a tax ID number in a lot of other countries. In some countries, you are required to put that on your profile. Here in the United States, we don't have to worry about that, so I just put not applicable here. Bonnie's having a hard time getting the full screen. Let me see if I can reduce this screen for you real quick. Give me 1 second. Maybe make it a little bit easier to view. All right, let me know if that's a little bit better, if that's easier to see. All right, excellent. All right, so going back to this, the VAT, you don't need to worry about that here in the United States. If you are in another country, if you're in the UK or Germany or some of the other countries that use a value-added tax, please check with your national office if that is a requirement of entering on your profile. The next couple of things, the computer, the industry, classification, and chapter, those are read-only fields. Those are based on the list of about 450 or so different categories that are listed in BNI. If that is not seeming to show what you want it to show, please do contact your director consultant or your regional office. They would be able to change that. And again, it has to do with the application that might be on file. It'll also show your chapter and what your membership status is. Next, we come to the two more important fields on this when it comes to the credibility building. The first of which is the My Business Description. Now, the My Business Description is, I always look at it as kind of your elevator pitch. So think about when you're at your weekly chapter meeting and there's some visitors there or a new member that you really haven't met before. How do you describe your business to them? I'd say in 30 seconds or less. Keep in mind that when it comes to reading text on the internet, people aren't going to read a book. They're going to be looking for snippets, very quick bits of information. You might want to put a list in here or something like that, but something that people can read very quickly and grasp. You can, if you'd like to, also put HTML markup in here. So you'll notice that I use some HTML language to make that bold. And I also put a list format in here for a couple of the things that I do in my business. You can do that. You are limited to 1,000 characters total. One other interesting thing that I've seen people do here is that you can embed a video. Some people have introduced themselves through a short video. You do have to host that video on something like Vimeo or YouTube, but you could put that iframe, that embed code in there and display a video about your business. The next section is the keywords. Now, the keywords are important because that's how people are going to find you when they don't know your name. So both the searches on the regional and the national sites, the public sites, as well as the search against the BNI directory, they rely heavily on keywords. So when somebody does a search, it is going to search your industry. It's going to search your classification. It's going to search your name. It's also going to search your address details. That may not be enough to fully describe what it is that you do. So that's where the keywords come in. Now, obviously, you want to put in things about your business, so things that complement your industry and your classification up here. So, for example, in mine, I put software, and I put consultant, I put consulting, I put Microsoft in there, things that people might be searching for if they're looking for my services. But there's some other interesting things that you can do with this. For example, the state where I'm a member, and yes, I'm a member. I've been a member since 2002, but I live in Rhode Island. And if you know anything about Rhode Island, it is a very, very small state. It's only about 20 miles wide by 40 miles long. That means that most people here in Rhode Island do business outside of the state as well. So we may do business in Massachusetts and Connecticut, the neighboring states here. So what I did was I put in the abbreviations for Massachusetts and Connecticut. So that way if people are looking for computer services in Massachusetts or computer services in Connecticut, my name will appear in the list as well, as opposed to only in Rhode Island. Now that works in the opposite as well. If you happen to live in a really big state, Texas or Florida or California, where you may only do business in certain counties, or you specifically want to be found in certain cities, you can put those cities in. For example, if you live in Alameda, California, but you also want to be found in San Francisco, you may want to put San Francisco into the keywords so that people find you when searching for San Francisco as well. If you make any changes to this page, make sure you click the Update button. You'll see that it shows you saved at the bottom real quick. That means it is now saved. And the changes do get published immediately. So if you go back to the regional website or you go to your profile in BNI Connect, you'll notice that your My Business, if you've updated it, it will be there right away. You don't have to wait, or you don't have to wait for a webmaster or anything to republish anything. The changes get pushed out immediately. The only difference to that is keywords. It does take about 5 minutes for the server to cache the new keyword entries. Suzanne says the invoice button. The email last invoice button will send you a copy of your latest invoice, usually your last renewal or your application. This button is not available in all areas. If you do have it though, feel free to click it. It will just send you a PDF copy of your last invoice. Does that make sense, Suzanne? All right. The next tab is the User Profile tab. Now, the User Profile tab here, you can customize your username. For example, a lot of people have their email address as their username. Well, if your email address ever changes and you'd like to make your username your new email address, you can go ahead and do that. It's not tied to your email address though, so that means that you do have to manually update your username. I usually recommend people don't use an email address, but as long as it is a unique username in the system, you are welcome to use whatever username you'd like. You can also change your password anytime you'd like to just by clicking on the Change Password button. Now, the memorable question and answer, that is what you'll use if you happen to ever forget your password and you need to get logged into BNI Connect. So make this a good question, something that you're going to remember the answer to. And one thing to keep in mind is that the answer is case and space sensitive. So let me show you how that works real quick. For example, I'm going to switch windows here. Let's say that I'm going to log into BNI Connect and I just can't remember my password. It keeps telling me it's the wrong password. If I click on the Forgot Password or Username button, it will ask me what my email address is. Now, this email address does have to match what is on your profile in BNI Connect. Then I just need to type in the CAPTCHA code here and click Find Me. Oops, those can be tricky. And it's going to search for my email address, and then it's going to ask me my question. So if I can answer this question correctly, then it will reset my password for me, and I can go ahead and log into BNI Connect. I can also, if I don't remember the answer, I can email myself my answer, and it will send me the question and answer to my email address, and then I can answer that and proceed with logging into BNI Connect. You can also choose what language you would like to display in BNI Connect. There are about 40 different languages that BNI Connect has been translated into, including about a dozen different versions of English. So, by the way, if you happen to be in BNI Connect and the dates aren't showing correctly, let's say it's showing month, day, year as we use in the United States, but you happen to be from the UK where they use day, month, year. That's also controlled by your language, by your English language settings, so make sure that you're choosing the right version of English. You can also set your time zone and upload a profile picture and company logo. If you'd like to change one of those, just click the Change button. I can then click the Browse button to go and find a new picture somewhere on my computer. I can crop the image if I'd like to, and then save it. And of course, if I made any changes to the top, I'm going to want to click the Update button, and that will save it. All right, moving on to the next tab, which is the contact details. Now, the contact details is really all the different ways to get in touch with you. But on this page also is what you are going to decide to show on the public websites. So again, that for me, that's bniri.com and bniamerica.com, as well as my chapter webpage. The most important thing on here is this very first line. Show me on BNI public websites. So if there is no check mark in this box, people will not be able to find you. You will not be listed at all. You will be completely hidden from all of the public websites. So you'll have zero visibility on the public websites. You won't be able to be searched, and you won't be listed. So if you'd like to be listed, make sure that there is a check mark in this box. Now this first address here, this is just an administrative copy and paste that the regional offices use. Scrolling down a little bit, you can put in a whole bunch of different phone numbers, your phone number, direct phone number, home, mobile, pager, voicemail, toll-free, fax, and you can choose which of those will display on the website. Again, your email address must be unique, and this is the email address where all of your communications will go to. So, for example, if you forgot your password and you need your secret answer, that's the email address it's going to go to, as well as event reminders and emails from your regional office. This is the email address that they will use. You can also put a number of social media links in here. Now, one thing that has been brought up to my attention a number of times is people have said, well, I have 2 Facebook addresses that I want to put on there, but it'll only let me put 1 Facebook in there. You can actually use any of these. This is just a descriptive header here. So, for example, I do have multiple Facebook addresses. I just used one of these other ones. The label doesn't actually show up anywhere, so you can put in multiple Twitter or multiple Facebook or multiple LinkedIn accounts if you'd like to. You can then put your address in and choose which of these addresses is showing on the BNI website. The regional office will always get in touch with you by your billing address, so if they need to send you something via postal mail, this is the address they'll use. Whereas this address you can use for sharing with people. It's also the address that will be searched in any of the searches, both on the regional websites and in the members-only portion of BNI Connect. And of course, if you make any changes on this tab, make sure you click the Update button. The next tab is the Account Settings, and this is kind of your permissions tab, so to speak. The first section here controls what information are you going to share with other members in the member-only portion of BNI Connect. So remember how our profile is broken into different tabs. You can choose which of those tabs are visible to other people. So the Bio tab, the Connections tab, the Testimonial tab, and the Picture Gallery tab. You can choose if that's showing to everybody, so as soon as they search you and find you, they'll be able to see that information. You can choose to only share that once you become connected with them, or you can choose to always hide that tab from people. You can also choose individually whether to show your email address and whether or not to show your contact details. The bottom half of the page is for email preferences. So this first one is with the group email notifications. So that is if you're participating in the discussion groups, how often you would like to be updated when there's activity in those groups. You can get immediate notifications. This is my personal preference so that I can make sure I can jump in and stay on top of the conversation, especially if you're running a group. You can do daily digests, you can do weekly digests, or you can opt out of group notifications altogether. The email forwarding, so for certain emails that come through, the social media emails, for example, if you're notified about a connection request or a testimonial request, would you like those to be forwarded to your regular email as well? If so, you can choose yes on these. Now, just for these notifications on this tab, you can choose to have those go to a different email address than the one that's on your contact details. If you'd like to do that, just put an address in here and click the Update button. The next tab is your Bio tab, and this has your bio, your commercial, your gains profile, and your tops profile. Now, most of us are familiar with all of these fields already. The bio is the same bio that your secretary-treasurer would hand out before a 10-minute presentation. So this really helps because you can just fill it out once, and then your secretary-treasurer can look up this information in BNI Connect instead of chasing you down with a manual sheet to fill out before your 10-minute presentation. You can also put in a couple of commercials. Now, people often ask, well, why would I bother typing out a bunch of commercials into BNI Connect? Well, the first answer is if they're looking at your profile, there's 160,000 members in BNI. 159,950 of them will probably never be at one of your BNI meetings to hear that presentation live. However, you can share this information with them by putting a couple of commercials in there. It's also a good way to keep one kind of in your back pocket in case you're at the last minute not going to be able to make a BNI meeting, and you can copy and paste that and email it to whoever your substitute is. Of course, the gains profile, goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. Great idea to have this information filled out before you go to your next one-to-one. Look up your one-to-one partner's profile. Check out their gains profile especially. This is the same as doing the gains exchange that we learn about in the Member Success Program. And finally, we have the TOPS profile. The TOPS profile is an important one to fill out because that one is also on the regional websites. So on the public profile of BNI Connect, it will display the TOPS profile. So make sure you fill this one out first if you have a limited amount of time. The director profile, if you happen to be a director consultant, this will show director-specific information on your Contact Us tab of the regional website. And finally, the training history. The training history, you can't update this directly, but if people are, if you find things are missing from here, if you've attended trainings and they're not showing up, please contact your regional office. They'll be able to update this list of events for you. All right, and that is the BNI Connect profile. So you can see how this helps to build visibility both on the public internet, on the regional websites, the national websites, the chapter websites, also on the inside of BNI Connect. It really helps to build credibility with other members around the world. So we are at the bottom of the hour. I do want to be respectful of everybody's time. If you do need to leave right away, thank you so much for being on the webinar today. However, I am happy to stay and answer any questions that anybody might have, so please do go ahead and ask those questions now. Just a reminder, this is being recorded. It will include all of the questions, so you'll be able to review those on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, as well as on the support site by clicking on the question mark. All right, so we do have a question here from AJ. AJ says, can you please elaborate in detail on the TOPS profile? Sure thing. Let me go back to the screen there. Heather says, thank you, and you are very, very welcome, Heather. So going back to the bio tab, so the TOPS profile. The TOPS profile really is, again, it's designed to be almost like the questions that you would ask when you're doing a one-to-one with somebody. So what is an ideal referral for you? The ideal referral would be what would be your best client if somebody was to refer you to a certain industry or a certain category of client. What would be that ideal referral for you? The top product, that is, what is the number one thing that you do? What is the best thing that you can help people with? Now, the top problem and the My Favorite BNI story. We talk a lot in BNI about really building credibility. One of the ways to do that is through stories. People will tend to remember stories more than they'll remember facts. So a story is more effective than just giving a list. Well, I do this, 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 and this. Well, people can connect better if you tell them about a time that you were able to do this and this, how you helped somebody out of a situation, how you were able to save the day and be a hero. Those are the types of things that people will take with them, and when they're out networking, they'll be able to say, oh yeah, you know what, I met this computer guy that was able to do this, or I met this mortgage broker that was able to get that loan when they thought that these people would never ever be able to qualify. Those are the stories people bring with them when they're out networking. And then your ideal referral partners. So obviously we're all looking for referrals to clients, but a lot of people also talk about, if you've ever heard of the chicken and the egg. So the chicken is really the end user, the client. It's a good idea also to ask for eggs. The eggs are the people that produce, the chickens. The chickens are the people that produce eggs over and over and over again. So think about your chapter, for example. You have your people that you tend to do the most business with. If you're a mortgage broker, that's going to be the real estate agent and the insurance person, and maybe the person that does rentals and the real estate attorney. Well, those would be your ideal referral partners, and especially ask for the ones that you might not have represented yet in your chapter, because that would make a great referral for you as well. So does that help to explain, AJ? So Sean asks, how do I find documents for 60-second and 10-minute presentations? So there are some documents that are available that might have been uploaded by your regional office. The place to find those is in the My Network section. So if you go back to the home screen and you click on My Network, this is really the kind of the social media and sharing section of BNI Connect. And you'll see here that there is a documents section. I can see that I have 43 documents that have been shared by my regional office. I can click and go to the More option. And here I'd be able to see any documents that have been shared by my region. A couple of things: you can expand the list and, let's say, view 100 at a time. And you can also go in and do a kind of a search against these. So for example, I can do eval, and this should filter out just the documents that have eval in it. All right, does that help, Sean? All right, and that is a regionally maintained document library. So it's not handled by headquarters or anything like that. So if there is any documents that aren't there, just talk to your director consultant, talk to your regional office. They'll be able to help you out with any documents that you might need. All right, what other questions? How else can I help you? All right, well, if you do have any additional questions, please do feel free to join us on the support site. Again, we have tons of documentation up there. We have tons of material. And you also have the ability, again, click the question mark here. That will take you over to the support site. You can also submit a request here. So you can ask a question, and we'd be happy to answer that question for you. I would also love it if you gave us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. This is our Facebook site where we do all sorts of things like webinar reminders and tips and tricks and announcements and all sorts of things like that. So I'd love it if you gave us a like up here. And again, a good referral for me is to please let your chapter members and your regions know about these webinars. Our very next webinar is going to be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about the online slips. So we're going to go through all of the online slips, how it works, how to submit slips, what the benefits of using the slips are. I would love it if we could fill up that webinar. That would be a great referral for me. Thanks again, everybody, for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you again on a future webinar. Happy connecting, everyone.